Evening good.
Evening good.
And welcome to another edition of Listenerland, where we discuss things about music and things. Things on music. Musically things.
Well, there's beer related and a bar scene. That's why we've slightly changed our...
Yes, we're on tour. People that usually watch us or will probably be thinking, oh, they're not in the same place. They've moved again because we've moved once.
Where's that weird wallpaper?
And then we've moved to another place. But now it's because we're out on tour.
This is the Royal Albert Hall, but in the back room.
Yeah, the really back room.
Yeah.
If you see anybody coming past me, it's just because they're just using urinals that's just behind me.
It's about 140 miles behind the Royal Albert Hall.
Yes.
Maybe more.
A lot more.
240.
anyway,
Although I've got a tenuous story to that.
All right.
What,
There was this group of people
urinals?
sat out in this particular area, backstage of a concert. They were going to go on first to support this other act. And they sat in this room. And this PR person comes through and she says, all right, chaps, how are you doing? Are you all right? You got everything you need? Yes, we're good, thank you. Right. Well, in a minute, so-and-so, this person, is going to come through and he's going to walk past you and he's going to go through that door and he's going to go in to the trailer that's at the back, which is converted into a gym. And he's going to do his 40-minute workout. You'll be going on stage. When you've gone off stage, he'll come out but what you mustn't do is do not engage this person in conversation. Do not make eye contact with this person. Let him go and do what he's got to do. You then go and do what you've got to do, and then he'll do what he's got to do. Don't engage him in conversation. Don't make eye contact. The band waiting to go on stage was Metallica. They were opening for the Rolling Stones, and the bloke went to the gym was Mick Jagger.
Wow.
And they all thought, what a knob, he's got a gym. And now what do they take on tour with them? A masseur, their own chef, a gym, they've got them bikes, what do they call them, pedalo bikes? What do they call them? Not pedalos.
Pelotons.
Bikes, they've all got them, and they all have the warm up and warm down.
I mean, what does Mick know, right?
What does Mick know?
I mean, he's 80 odd and he's
What
still...
does he
And he
know?
looks like a bag of shite.
Yeah, he can't move for
Where
toffee.
does he get off with the old gym bit? I do disagree with the don't make eye contact.
I don't think he
Why
stated
not?
that, though.
No, he did.
No, I
Why?
don't know. I think
Why
that-
not eye contact?
I think that's his people that's done that. They think that's the best
Well,
thing.
his people have said don't make eye contact.
So hear me out. So there's a program on YouTube called Noisy, and and the subcategory is guitar moves, and it's a guy that I think he plays bass and he's learning guitar, and he's a bass player for a famous band, and he goes around famous guitarists like Queens of the Stone Age and Jack White and all this sort of stuff, and learns guitar moves. There's Billy Gibbons and stuff, and one of them is Keith, and he's walking out the road and he's like, now I've been told that Keith won't pick up a guitar, he won't play anything, blah, blah, blah.
I've seen this.
But he does, and he quite
seen
willingly does. But it's just something that the people say.
Yeah.
So, don't, try and talk to them. Don't.
But they want to.
Yeah, because they don't necessarily care.
Yeah.
It's just something
I'd like to think
it's
that was
something
true,
that the
and it
staff
probably is
does
true.
to make things easier for their job.
For their job, yeah. Don't engage him.
Because
if he's delayed talking to you, it's going to make my job worse.
They know.
I get that.
They know he's got 40 minutes to do whatever he needs to do, and if he has to spend 10 minutes having photos, then that messes up their schedule than what he's got to do.
Yeah.
And it's not Mick's concern.
Yeah.
If he's running late, it's their concern.
To be fair, it was it was the drummer. What's the drummer called?
Lars
Ulrich. We were him telling this story,
Right.
and he never complained about the fact that they had this said to him. He just said it. That's what they said. He says what he was laughing about was the fact that they now take a gym with them. They now have these Pelotron bikes. They have their own chef that goes with them.
Well, back then though, they had a a better immune system and recovery. So they just did whatever they did, and
they're healthier now than they've ever been, rock stars.
Well, I'd like to give a plug out. And it's a plug to a new venue.
A
new venue?
It's a bath plug, yeah. Have you read the article as well?
The Golden Wayne bath plug.
It's a new venue that's only going to happen for the summer months of this year. And it's going to target British talent newbies, which I like.
Okay.
I like the idea of this.
Yeah.
And it's called Terminal 5.
It don't sound like that's a good idea.
Well,
I never like going to an airport and you end up in the terminal.
this new venue's called...
Oh, yeah, I never thought of it that way.
This new venue's called Terminal 5. And it is actually in Heathrow Airport. And it is Terminal 5.
Is it a busking venue then?
Right.
And what they've done is they have joined forces with a global music events company, So Four Sounds, who promoted people like Ed Sheeran and Ozzy and stuff like that. And they get strange venues to host talent of that country.
Right.
And there's quite a few people come through ranks and got on these TV. And anyway, so what they're doing through the summer months is they're putting gigs on in Terminal 5 for people that's got flights. And they're encouraging...
to entertain the...
Yeah, and what they're doing is they're
okay.
encouraging you to go, say, an hour and a half early and go and watch the show first before you fly out.
Well, that's interesting.
And I thought, oh, that's a good idea, that. I like that. That's good, that.
I'm not going to say...
So you drop your cases off.
They're already there.
Yeah.
So
captive audience.
Yeah.
So you drop your cases off. So instead of walking around duty-frees buying crap or looking at shite...
You know what? I think I could do with a big Toblerone.
Yeah.
Who doesn't need a big Toblerone?
The aggressive sweetie. The one that where you bite the second valley, the third one rips your top lip off.
£12 for a huge Toblerone. Well, I think that's a deal.
Yeah, so instead of doing that, you can go to Terminal
Do I
5.
need one of these?
You can go to Terminal 5 and there'll be a local British band on doing their bits and bobs.
Because
I thought,
after all,
I like that.
What you
that's a
need
good
at an
idea,
airport, I think what you need at an airport, I mean, the chocolate is a good idea. I'm all on board with that, especially Toblerone. You need a distraction.
Yeah. And
because you're in that space, you're in that environment where...
But don't you find in an
You're
airport,
waiting,
time drags.
You're waiting for that thing.
It does.
Drags.
Yeah.
So if you can go to a gig,
Yeah.
it's brilliant. I think it's a great idea.
Good idea.
Yeah. So
definitely.
but the only downside is, I think it's the last weekend of September is the last gig type of thing.
Oh, I think if they make it work,
Yeah, I
it'll
think
catch on.
I think if it's successful, I think they'll be back again.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than when you've got to get there 2.5
That'd
hours,
be good
3 hours before.
Yeah, it'd be good if it come further up north and went to like Manchester,
Then
East Midlands and stuff like
It
that.
might be problematic with missing planes, though. Like, someone's at some point, there's going to have to be an announcement like,
fault, isn't it?
get to gate 4.
Well, I would imagine there'll be one at screens on.
Yeah, it's your own fault. You got to get
that
there.
you can watch band or artist or whatever it may be.
Oh, here's a song entitled "And for those at Gate 47, it's time
Leaving
to go."
on a jet plane.
And for those of you that miss your flight, it's time to get a travel lodge.
Closing time.
But yeah, I just
Yeah,
thought,
that's
that's a good idea. That I like that idea. It's good. That
It's a win-win actually. isn't
something
it?
to do in the place where it's absolutely drags. It's as boring as hell. How much Italian coffees can you actually drink?
How much can you pretend that it's a genuinely fun experience in the Wetherspoons?
No, it's not.
It's not.
No. Oh, yes, I'll pay £12 for this mediocre Foster's. Sure. I'm having a great time.
Yeah, we've all been there. We've all been there. And yeah, you get plenty of coffee. Not wrong with it, Italian coffee. It's a good coffee. If it's a good coffee, it's okay.
Yeah, there's some nice places.
But I can't eat
Okay.
12. No, I can't eat 12 lots of cake to go with that coffee.
No.
11 is okay, but 12 no.
11's your limit.
Yeah,
That's your record.
Yeah, no, it's not my record. It's just what I feel comfortable with.
But no, I just thought it was a good idea. I thought,
it's good.
I could see that catching
It's a
on.
good little story.
I could. Hopefully, it might even.
And it's only in Heathrow, you say?
It's only in Heathrow at the moment.
I hope it
At the
spreads
moment.
out.
I hope it goes to different airports.
So,
I'd go and watch it.
How would the performers feel about that? Do the performers feel, wow, we've been a bit, they can't go anywhere, they're stuck with us. Do they feel like...
I don't assume.
I think when
it's pretty much like the underground with busking, right? Or do you like?
And
but they don't want to feel like buskers.
Well, they are buskers, right?
A gig's a gig.
But you're not going to get the change because people generally don't
out.
carry change with them to airport, do they? They're paying a card.
They're going to get me. They're going to get some. At least they're going to get some people seeing what they can do.
Yeah.
In a nice environment, because it's not a subway. It's not raining outside and people. Yeah. Oh, I get that. Oh, yeah.
So John Lydon,
Yeah.
Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
He's been on stage lately, and he even sang a song of a particular artist which got my attention. But he made a little speech beforehand, and he said that you would not have punk if you did not have these artists. And he was referring to one artist in particular. What was that artist?
It's not what you think.
No, it's what I think, because I know.
Oh, no, but what I mean is, were you going to think they were against all these people like Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin because they were the Antichrist at the time. But you wouldn't have punk without them.
I think, before
What
Police.
did you say?
I said Police.
Before Police.
Oh, no. They were on tailcoats
Like
after.
pop punk. Yeah,
Really?
they were like Green Day, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well,
They were never punk, really. They said themselves they were never punk.
No, I don't.
They have to play down the fact that they know how to read music.
Yeah, they'll pretend, weren't they?
And they... No, they weren't punk. They were more new wave.
No, I won't.
They're popularising punk and reggae.
No, I wasn't trying to say. I wasn't trying to say Police were punk.
Well, they're not popularised,
I thought you said that punk wouldn't have happened without.
John Lydon says that
Pistols listening to
you
this
would not
band.
have the Sex Pistols if you hadn't have had this artist.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm meaning. I thought that.
So it was before the Sex Pistols. Police were
Right.
afterwards.
Yeah, right. Oh, right.
The Sex Pistols came about because they were rebelling or wherever they were about that artist.
I mean, I uninterpreted the question.
You did. It's fine.
Misinterpret, yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to go for one of the bands such as Pink Floyd or Led Zeppelin because they pretended that they hated them.
Okay.
Pretended,
It's a good option.
but it's not them.
But it's not great. It's good, but it's not great.
Yeah, it's great, but it's not good.
Mr. Chips. So,
I don't know. I've got a funny feeling that's going to be something stupid like Beatles or something like that.
David Bowie. John Lydon says if you didn't have David Bowie or T.Rex, you would not have the Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
They were more punk than you could believe. In a world of black and white and clean as a whistle, these androgynous characters with makeup strutted on stage and did things that shocked.
I don't think they were anti-establishment. There wasn't punk.
No, he's not saying they were punk. He's saying that you wouldn't have had punk if it weren't for these people to break the mold of the norm.
Yeah.
And Bowie and T.Rex, they were freaks.
Yeah.
They were freaks. Like everyone thought that Bowie was an alien.
Oh, he wasn't.
Wanted?
No, they're right in what they're saying.
And then he went on to sing a song of Bowie's.
Which one?
I think it was Major Tom. Ground
Oh,
Control.
right.
I think it was that. I can't quite remember. But the speech is a separate video which I watched, and he goes on basically a rant about how he admires David Bowie, which you wouldn't expect, would you? Really?
No, it's not the first thing that comes to mind. And he wore the famous T-shirt that said "I hate Pink Floyd" or something like that on it, and that was a purposeful thing. He did like Pink Floyd. He still does like Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Oh, don't like Pink Floyd.
But they were saying that he didn't because they wanted to get rid of all that. They wanted to get rid of that pomp and sentiment, that long, drawn-out solo.
They wanted to be something different, and they wanted to find a reason to explain why they couldn't play guitar like him.
And it was good for music. I quite like the idea that they did that. They didn't do as much financially as we all think they did, because the stories got hyped over years. And we've discussed that before. But you need something to come along every now and again and just shake up the establishment.
Punk was Pink Floyd for the pop audience.
Yeah, I get that. Where'd you get that from?
I just made it up.
Excellent.
Because a lot of the context of what they're talking about was quite loaded, but a lot of the way that they did it was consumable.
Yeah, extremely.
Whereas Pink Floyd was quite elaborate in musical terms and lyrical terms, and felt elitist. Where what they were doing, probably unknowingly, was becoming...
You're right, because it was all contrived.
Yeah.
One of Malcolm McLaren's best friends was Peter Grant, the manager of Led Zeppelin. They were weaving in and out of all these things. How can we make this work? How can we make ourselves more interesting? How can we stop...
Got it.
Oh, God, I thought it was like
Mick
a
Jagger.
New Zealand dance.
I thought we had to join
I've
in
got
there.
this bloody Mitch thing flying around me. But I'm that quick. I had it.
Well, you think you had it, but I flicked it first. And let me tell you,
Oh,
that,
right.
that fly will not have children.
Well, not now. I've just killed it.
Yeah, but it was all contrived. It was all contrived. It was a big rock and roll swindle.
But it is interesting, though, because Pink Floyd, to a certain audience, will make them...
He understood that.
Pink Floyd would make them consider, like, political circumstances, social circumstances.
Yeah.
But so would the Sex Pistols,
Oh, yeah.
but just packaged differently.
Yeah. Yeah. Just packaged differently. Yeah. PR people.
And probably punk inspired...
PR people
more
earned their
guitarists.
money.
Oh, yeah.
And did a good job half the time. Some of them, I don't know.
I don't know whether it's form follows functions or function follows form, because they were not able to play like David Gilmour. But in contrast...
want to.
Well,
Well, they said
but
they
in
didn't want-
contrast,
they said they didn't want
we don't want to.
Yeah.
But they couldn't. If they could, they would. So, like, if you could play like David Gilmour, you would.
You would.
But they couldn't,
What
so
did
they
they,
didn't.
what did they call the original guitarist that they got rid of?
Shite.
Was it Matlock? The original guitarist they got rid of. Was it Glenn Matlock?
I don't know his first name. It might be Matlock. I don't know his first name.
Because
I
he
can't
could
remember his first
play. And they didn't like him because he could play, and he wanted to play. He wanted to be more creative.
But
musically.
imagine the differences. You got Sid Vicious.
Oh, couldn't play.
Yeah. You got...
name. Well, he was a bass player, wasn't he?
yeah,
Yeah, but he couldn't play.
He couldn't play for Toffee.
Half the time, he went
Didn't he,
plugged in and
didn't he
his roadies were
originate
playing.
from Susie and the Banshees?
Sorry?
No.
Did he what?
Didn't he originate from Susie and the Banshees?
No. No, I don't know what his origins were, but he couldn't play.
It was basically a snarling...
No. But they weren't
Brilliant.
punk either. Susie and the Banshees.
No.
I'd consider them new wave goth.
Yeah.
But they were classed as
Yeah.
punk, weren't they?
They were latter end.
Oh, that reminds me.
They can't be punk if they're playing a Beatles song. Dear Prudence.
Dear Prudence.
Beatles song.
Yeah. You only recently learned that, didn't you?
I only recently learnt that.
Yeah.
I've always liked that song, but I've always thought it was theirs. I never realised it came off a White Album by Beatles.
And do you know where Dear Prudence came from?
No.
It was something to do with John Lennon and...
Yeah, he was part of the
You
Beatles.
tell the story.
So, do you know when they went over to India and they wore the granddad
Yeah,
t-shirts
yeah,
and stuff like that? And they were hanging around,
Is that 'cause it were hot?
hanging around with the Sikhs and stuff. Well, they were all into meditation.
They played hide and seek.
They were playing hide and seek, and they were all into meditation. And there's a woman called Prudence who would not come out of a meditation, and they were teasing her at back, going, "Come on, Prudence, come on, let's go out, stop it now." She was like,
Won't you come out to play?
Yeah, and she wouldn't like, she was really focusing it, and they were like teasing her, trying to get her out, like distract her and come out and play. So Dear Prudence was about this woman who was with them, who was like not being distracted by the gurus of India. She was meditating.
And she might have been meditating, but the old gurus that they went out to see, he was doing a bit of meditating as well. That's why they left.
Oh.
They fell out with the old Ravi Inchidi because he was...
Nora Jones's dad.
No,
That's
Ravi
Nora-
Shankar, that's Nora Jones's dad. But no, the Swami that they went out there to meditate with or given enlightenment.
The Peshwaris.
The Peshwari Nambred, he was he was actually a bit wayward, weren't he? So they all fell out with him.
Well, they all are, aren't they?
Yeah, it's all a bit of a con, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, but he was being a bit wayward with the women, so they says, this is not what he's preaching.
Yeah.
So are you familiar with the name Mary Austin?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, but I know
It does
that
sound
name.
familiar.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Want me to tell you?
Go on.
Right.
Mary
So-
Austin, I know that name.
Why?
I don't know. I'm going to be saying,
You probably will do. I'll tell you why you know Mary Austin. So she is the long-term lover / friend of Freddie Mercury.
That's right. And all his estate went. All his estate went to her.
And she is the beneficiary of Freddie Mercury's
There you go.
fortune
Yeah.
since his death in 1991. He left everything to her.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, this week, early next week, she will make, or she's set.
I know where you're going. I know
She's
where you're
set
going.
to get £187.5 million.
Yeah.
Because Queen have sold their back catalogue to Sony
Yeah.
Yeah.
for 127 billion.
Yeah.
Clever girl.
Well, Freddie, give it to her.
He did,
Yeah.
fair play,
Well, yeah.
She's not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
She
The house that they had in central London there, with the wall garden, the garden lodge or something like that they called it. The gate, she sold the gate that was in the wall, and it went to charity.
Well, he bought her house, didn't he, across the street?
Yeah,
So,
she could live there.
So she could live there and look over.
To be fair,
Could he look over and see her?
Vice
or
versa,
Did
vice versa.
she look over
They could still
and
see
him in garden,
yeah,
wasn't she?
To be
he wanted
fair-
to make sure she was looked after.
selling the gate, I don't think that's just a financial thing. I think that's like a way to preserve history.
Oh no, it was. Yeah, don't get me wrong. People had gone up and
'Cause some people
because there
think
were
like-
access from outside,
Yeah.
so people had signed it. They carved their names in it. They'd all.
I think it's
We love Freddie and all
it's
this.
quite an important thing.
So
really.
it was a piece of art.
Yeah.
By the time it was finished, a piece of art. So she sold it off as a piece of art to raise money for some charity or other.
And I think that's good.
Yeah, it is good.
But Sony previously had spent 550 million on Springsteen's back catalogue.
yeah.
So they bidded for the Queen back catalogue, and then they got outbidded by another company at 900 million. So they went in with 1.27 billion and won it.
Billion.
Billion, 1.27
It's the first.
billion.
It's the first back catalogue
Yeah,
to pass a billion.
yeah. And,
That's insane, isn't
and
it?
Mary Austin is. They all get 187.5
Now
million.
let's just think about this for a minute.
No, it's
Let's-
difficult.
I mean-
you can't comprehend them figures.
You can't
let's think about this for a minute,
that.
right?
You can't imagine that,
You've
can
got
you?
4 people in a room at some point with nothing, and then either 20 minutes later or 3 days later, they come out with a song,
Yeah,
and suddenly that 3-minute song,
yeah.
or an accumulation of 3-minute songs, which is just songs, just songs, just think people sing, makes 12 o'clock go a bit easier.
Yeah.
And suddenly,
What are you going to call this? Seven Seas Rye?
No, but
what's
just-
that mean?
I mean,
Seven Seas Rye.
One makes a guitar out of the fireplace,
and then
others not wired up right, and others in love with his car.
and then you can get billionaires.
Further down that
of
line.
ditties. Then, so that exemplifies how important, for some reason, music is to people,
Oh,
Oh, it's massive.
and without really knowing
It's massive.
why it is.
Yeah, it's massive.
you can't. but
I
you,
don't believe there's
you can't
anybody,
quantify it at the time.
I don't believe there's anybody on this earth that doesn't like a form of music.
There are people, though, aren't there?
I know. I don't.
Yeah,
believe
they are.
that.
But
I don't believe
there's
that.
a mind thing. There's a brain thing
I don't believe that.
that makes it that they don't comprehend music,
One
and it's
minute.
not. It's not.
that they don't like music.
But
It's a natural thing.
It fetches people together. It makes people a lot of money.
It's just that basic tapping.
we make
A raindrops off the edge of a tree.
we
It
make music
creates a
so
rhythm.
personal, don't we?
Sorry.
We make music, what we hear, so personal.
Well, it is. It becomes very
It
personal.
becomes,
It does become personal, yeah.
even though it can be far.
And that's why people get obsessed with it, in the sense that they make podcasts. No, in the sense that they become obsessed with the people that make it, and because
like they've got some sort of clue into something, but they don't.
this is you're tapping into them, and they say, well, you know, this is me. You're singing about me. This is, and they become obsessed.
But everybody
becomes that person.
Yeah. But everybody's
we
opinion is different.
all have that sort of similar sort of trait.
But yet poetry struggles.
Sorry?
But yet poetry struggles. And
Poetry
you could say
struggles,
that poetry is a more...
Is songs without music.
It's a more intellectual, considered, structured sort of way of articulating a thought or a feeling.
It
can be, but how accessible is poetry when you put a bit of a raindrop pattern to it?
Yeah.
I think music is one of them things where you're never wrong and you're never right. It's a personal.
It can get so personal.
Professional.
But things work better.
It's your choice.
I get what Louis is saying.
If you like something, you're not wrong for liking it, but you're not right for liking it. Because if you listen an album or a track and you get 10 people in the room, you will have at least 7 different opinions on that track. None of them's right, but none of them's wrong.
But I get what Louis was saying there about music and poetry.
Yeah.
Because I've recently bought a book by Leonard Cohen. It's Leonard Cohen's poetry. And you read Leonard Cohen's poetry as a piece of poetry. And it's okay. If you set that to music with a different format, it would be probably more enjoyable.
Lou Reed considered himself a poet. He wanted to become a poet, not a musician.
Yeah, it worked for me with music. It would work for me with music, but as reading Leonard Cohen's just words, I found it very, almost basic and a little bit, oh no, I can't be putting up with this. But I think if he'd have put it in a musical format, I would probably enjoy it a lot more.
And that's why I quite like, so the poet laureate for England is Simon Armitage, which you've seen.
We have.
But he has a band, and I can't remember what it's called, which is no good to you. But if you Google or if you search on Spotify Simon Armitage, you'll find his band. And I've seen his band a couple of times, and his band's really good. And he's basically doing poetry over music, which is like Radiohead.
Yeah.
And it's very. I tried to combine very and really. Then it's very good, and it's hypnotic. There's and you could say that the Smiths is almost poetry on music as well.
No. I had a job and I
But
haven't a job.
don't you think all lyrics?
It's really
Thank you.
basic.
Don't you think all lyrics are poetry?
Well, they are to some degree.
Well,
You could say that about Bob Dylan, couldn't you?
there's a lot.
You could say that you get more.
I think there's more.
You get more people agreeing with you if you said Bob Dylan rather than Morrissey
Yeah.
or Smiths.
I'm saying Morrissey because of the patterns of which he speaks in. It's very he has quite a flamboyant way with syllables. With Bob Dylan, I've been quite into a song at the moment over the past couple of weeks, and it's Bob Dylan and Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
And it's the girl South. Oh, but bear with me. It'll be on my just recently listened to. So, right, it's called "Girl from the North Country."
Yeah, it's a great famous
I
song.
really like that. It's probably the best that Bob Dylan's ever sung. In comparison, like with the bass notes of Johnny Cash,
But that's because he chose to sing it in that way. It's like
it's such
Lay Lady Lay.
Yeah, but
it doesn't sound like Bob Dylan when he's singing that. He sings it in a completely different way.
It's such a nice song.
It is.
It's a really great song. I've been
That
playing
song
that a
is
lot.
great.
Yeah.
I do like that song. The Tedeschi Trucks Band do an excellent version of that. So does the Twilight Singers. They do a great version.
I just love
as well.
the simpleness.
Greg Tully and Mark Lanigan.
But it's the simpleness of it, and I think if you even strip that down to lyrics, you could conjure that as a poem.
Yeah, you could.
And it evokes a lot of. Even though I've never been to the areas that they're singing about, I can imagine it.
Yeah.
And I think if a song can take you to a place that you haven't been, or it can suspend you in a time of fiction, then it's done its job.
There was a question raised on one of the social media sites a couple of weeks ago, and I was reading it, and I don't normally respond to these sort of things. I'm more of an observer rather than I don't commit myself.
Apparently, that's the most unhealthy way to engage with social media.
Sorry?
Apparently, that's the most unhealthy way to engage.
It may
with
be. It may be.
To read and not reply.
Yeah, to just
Yeah,
consume.
maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
It's like voyeurism.
Well, it is voyeurism, yeah. But I don't necessarily want to get into a conversation with a complete stranger who's going to start abusing me because I have an opinion. Yeah. So rather than do that, I avoid
We
it.
started the podcast.
Yeah, I don't want Simon Le Bon just to give me some shite because I tell him he's tracked the rubbish. No, it's not that. No, it's not that. And people were saying, what song took you on a journey and you thought it would, and you really enjoyed the fact that it took you on that journey. And my first thought was, lyrically, these words took you on this quest through this song. Ooh. And my first thought was The Hurricane by Bob Dylan. Okay. If you've not heard it, then it's difficult to explain.
Yeah.
Mine's Piano Man.
Yeah, Piano Man came up in conversation.
I thought you were going to say The Sword of Damocles, the Rufus Wainwright ones.
The Sword of Damocles.
Damocles.
Yeah. And my first thought was about Bob Dylan's song. And my second thought, and then I have to listen to all these other things. It got me thinking about all these songs that take me on this journey. So I actually engaged in a conversation.
Oh,
yeah.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Block notification.
So I'm banned now for 6 months, apparently. No. And I put down...
Ding dong, the witch is gone.
I put Tom Waits' song, and it's called Invitation to the Blues.
Yeah.
If you've heard Tom Waits' song, Invitation to the Blues, I have mentioned this before on here because I really do like it. And it's where he says she's a walking violation from her conch down to her shoes. Mm-hmm. Oh. She's an invitation to the blues. And all the way through it takes you on this story. It paints such a brilliant picture about this. It's this film all in the song. You can picture it in your head. She's in a diner. You pictures somewhere else, though, didn't you?
Yeah.
But I think it's great. I get your point. What was your point?
I don't know.
We've just moved on out. It's so fast.
But yeah, it's music powerful.
I'll give
music
you a point.
Music is powerful.
A no point because none of you can remember what point you were pointing at.
I think it was about how
poetry and
adding
music to
music.
Poetry.
Yes.
And that's something you can add.
Is it as powerful as taking music away from lyrics? Yeah. Oh, vice versa.
Or vice versa. Anyway, enough of that malarkey. So Gibson this week has fetched out the Yardburst.
Oh.
And it is a 1959 Les Paul Standard custom guitar for Jeff Beck.
How many variations can they make of something? Did Jeff Beck really tweak something that differently, or did he just play differently to other people?
I don't know. But they fetched it out this week because it would have been his 80th birthday.
He looked good.
Okay.
He only died a couple of years ago. Was it last year?
Yeah.
He
looked good for
the thing is
79.
They fetched it out obviously because it Yardburst.
The thing is, there's already a Jeff Beck signature.
Yeah, it is.
So is this cashing in on the death?
Series 1 and the Series 2.
But aren't they Fenders?
Oh, this is in Jeff. Oh, this is Les Paul, right? Okay.
Did he play a Les Paul?
He did originally.
With Yardbirds.
Tenuous.
But this is not called the Yardbirds, it's called the Yardburst.
Yeah, tenuous though, that isn't it? I feel that's a bit money grabbing that.
But they've only made 130 of them.
To make it more valuable.
And
they're going to charge?
Well, it doesn't actually say the price.
You can't get enough notes on that page.
No. No, but the reason why they've only fetched 130 of them out is because
nobody wants them.
On the same, not only because nobody wants them, because on the same day that it is Jeff Beck's 80th birthday, it's actually Gibson's celebrates 130 years of music history.
Right. Okay.
So they fetched 130 and corresponded theirs with his and fetched 130 signature.
This leads
Jeff
me
Beck's
nicely to tell you a little story.
Go on then.
Well, it's not to tell you a little story. I'm just going to brag.
What, you've hi-fied Jeff Beck as well?
No,
All right.
I have been to the original Gibson.
Oh, I was
Factory,
talking about this today.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
right.
Gold Top,
yeah. I've
yeah.
been to the original Gibson factory in Kalamazoo, and I had a guided tour of the factory and some of the old machinery they used to use. And we actually arrived here at a time when we're supposed to be closing, lads. We're supposed to be closing. You know, it's a bit. Today's the day we close early. It turned into being Heritage Guitars or something like that. And arrived. I said, "Oh, come on, I'll take you around. Show me all the old machinery. Loads of blanks up on the racks. It's like an old man's workshop. It's like my dad's shed, but times
Bigger.
50. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. It was really interesting. They were showing me all. There's blanks from guitars there from original Gibson times,
All right, yeah.
and there's the templates for blanks, and there's all the machinery that did the winding of the pickups and hostels. Brilliant. I've been to Kalamazoo. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
The thing is with Jeff Beck, when I think of Jeff Beck, I don't think about a Les Paul. I think about
No, you don't.
I think
No,
about
Fender.
I think about a Strat,
Yeah,
and I think about a muscle shirt,
yeah,
and I think about a Faces haircut.
yeah.
So a Ronnie Wood early Faces haircut, a muscle shirt,
band round arm,
skinny jeans, a white Strat,
white cowboy boots.
and no plectrum.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But early days, he were.
I know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's not the Jeff Beck that was to come.
I think that's an age. I think that's an age thing, though, isn't it? I mean, I'd forgot when he was saying that. I slipped straight into that character that you're pointing out there,
The famous Jeff Beck.
the famous Jeff Beck. But he was famous when he had a Les Paul.
Yeah, but it weren't.
not
it weren't,
in today's
and it
standards.
just feels like Gibson's like, hey, don't forget about us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's dead now, so you can't say no.
yeah.
Jeff
That-
Beck.
I agree with you. I think they are milking that one a little bit.
Money
They've got the
grabbing,
old three-legged stool out there, and they're giving it the old.
And another fact of this week, I'm not going to tell you what week it is,
He's Mr. Fact Man, isn't
but in 1969, June 25th, which is 55 years ago, the Hollies got together
Oh, here we go.
in EMI Studios in London, which is later, as you all know, became Abbey Road. And they recorded a song called He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother.
My brother.
You never.
And what they did is, when they got in, they got various people in to do bits and bobs, and they got this young chap, Reggie. They paid him 12, and they paid him £12 to play piano.
No, he just did that.
And he later became Elton John.
Yeah, yeah.
55 years ago this week.
Wow.
So, and they later became, well, one part of them became Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
Yeah.
Or as I like to call them, Crosby, Stills, Pie and Mash.
Sorry, a horse came into the studio. Not now, Tonto.
And he is still releasing albums.
Is it really?
Yeah, he's late 80s, he's still releasing albums.
You know, I was thinking about Abbey Road just maybe yesterday, and I don't particularly know why. Do you know, like your mind drifts and stuff? And I was thinking about the album, you know, where they're walking across the road,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
album,
yeah.
Abbey Road, and the problem it has now, even with tourists, where
Yeah.
traffic
Yeah.
gets built up. So I'm thinking about like how an album, one photo from one band from one album can suddenly change a lot of more than you probably can appreciate the council's infrastructure of the road network of London.
Well,
Because
people come
just
from
to
one
like,
side.
Yeah,
just to like move it around that
Yeah.
particular area, because they can't stop that. So they're going to probably like direct traffic of main routes that go around that now rather than through it, because they know that it's going to be
People-
ridiculously.
But I didn't know
popular.
Abbey Studios used to be old EMI
Well,
Studios.
it's still old EMI Studios.
Well, yeah, but I didn't know it used to be EMI Studios.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was the
You
same
think
place.
it's the Beatles thing, don't you?
Well, I just thought I thought there were two different.
Just it literally
Buildings.
crossroad, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't realise that there were,
Yeah, it's
one
crossroad.
became other.
So on George Harrison's album, All Things Must Pass, right? His solo album, he had this song called Apple Scruffs.
Oh.
And Apple Scruffs is a song about... Should I just walk through the main camera?
Yeah.
Could have gone that way.
Right. For those of you watching on YouTube, he's just gone to check the temperature outside.
Because he's weird.
Yeah.
So Apple Scruffs is a song dedicated to the fans that would sit outside Apple Studios to try and see them.
Right.
And it referred to as Apple Scruffs.
Which
Which is a bit insulting, but also endearing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And while he's gone and he's missed this opportunity, I think it's a perfect time to...
But wait.
Oh, there's more.
There's more. I have to get this in because it corresponds with this weekend.
Oh, hello. Oh.
So I was reading something about Glastonbury.
Good God, is it this weekend, Wayne?
It is this weekend. And what...
Or past weekends, maybe.
Or maybe past weekends.
What a good show it's been.
Weekends coming up. But no, what came out was the bar prices.
Oh, go on.
So, Glastonbury bar prices for 2024.
Oof.
So, you'll have more of an idea than this than I do.
I went last
because
year.
You paid for them. So, at the bar, a cocktail will be between £9.50 and £12.50.
Yeah, but that's city prices. That's normal. That's normal.
Which I didn't think were bad.
That's normal.
Depending on which one you have.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, last week or week before we went to Donny.
It's not a lager top. That's not a cocktail.
No, and my good lady and
Hope is back.
daughter,
Subtly.
they were having cocktails, and we were paying $10.50.
Yeah,
for it.
it's average.
So I thought, well, that's a good price. That.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. An average beer / cider will be £6.75.
Roughly average for
Which
city
I thought,
prices.
yeah, all right. If you go for a real ale
It's
type of thing, you're looking at £6 a
It's
pint.
on the steep side, but city prices.
A Stonewall IPA is £7.
That's quite steep.
Well, I thought that would dear.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Otter Ale comes in at £6.50,
Average.
which I thought,
Average.
no,
Have
all
you
right.
wrote everything down that they're actually selling?
Yeah.
Oh,
For
yeah.
cans,
Oh,
it's
dear.
between £6.25 and £8.
Yeah.
For a bottle of wine, it's £30. Now, I don't know because I don't drink wine.
I assume that's pretty much roughly around
For
the
a
same.
Prosecco, it's £44.50.
They're buying,
A
that
bottle.
they're buying that from retailers, though. It's about a tenner a bottle.
Right, but what you got to remember that it's a captive audience. But
Yeah.
Glastonbury is different to most festivals, 99% of festivals, because you can walk around there with your own drinks.
Yeah.
So you can load
you
up at
can?
the tent.
You really?
Yeah, you can load
Oh,
your
right,
rucksack up with
okay.
your own drinks. This is if you've run out of drinks.
Why do you think he's addicted to gin and tonic?
Nobody goes to bar because they've got a rucksack full of gin and tonics and their own cocktails, or
I
Jack
didn't know
Daniels and
that.
Coke,
Because I didn't know that.
or
So
a big bag of heroin
yeah, I can imagine that. So a Prosecco's £44.50.
for a bottle.
Yeah. For a half pint of soft drink, it's £3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for a spirit, it's between £5.75 and £13.50, depending on what
spirit?
spirit.
You
have,
always find
which
this,
I thought was a little tad overpriced.
But again, like I say, you can carry your own spirits around with you.
Yeah, but overall, I was expecting Glastonbury to be a lot more expensive than them.
You will find other festivals that are more expensive for that because
I
they've got.
didn't think that were bad compared to like if you go out in your local town.
It's like
and you-
Manchester,
and you-
London prices.
Yeah, if you go for an IPA, you're expecting £5.50
Yeah.
to £7, depending
See, I'm
on
not
who it
surprised
is.
by this because I used to go to a lot of bike racing meetings back in my youth when I was like 17,
Yeah.
up to being about 19. And we used to go to places like Carroll Park, Donington Park, places like that. And you always went to beer tent, and you would pay a lot more. You knew you were going to have to pay a lot more.
Oh, yeah, you would do.
Because
Yeah.
they've got it there. They've chilled
But
it. they've got
I
it there.
think what caught my eye is the headlines was, as Glastonbury overpriced, or something on them lines. So I wrote them down, and when I was reading them, I thought, well, I don't think they have overpriced.
No, it's all right there.
It's what you would expect to pay if you went out into any town or city. You go for a craft beer.
Yeah.
I always expect to pay £6.50 ish.
In a city.
IPAs, 6 to 7
We're coming to
quid.
this club here, we're going to get at reduced rates because it's a
Yeah.
local club. You're
But
going
I'm-
to somewhere outside of the main city.
But you're
Yeah.
expecting £6 a pint on
That's
average.
why he bought a trailer
Yeah.
to
to
put
walk
gin in.
into camp.
You do.
You were full of beer.
You got Jack Daniels, gin, all sorts of stuff. And on that note,
The only thing you got
Goodbye.
to make sure you got were your mixers.
you got to get your mixers.